might not be good for
We're
you.
live.
All right. I do that just for you. The meeting will now come to order. Roll call. Mr. Probst.
Here.
Ms. Brunette.
Here.
Mr. Cowley.
Here.
Mr. Glonick. Here. Mr. Hirsch.
Here.
Ms. Johnson. I am here. Please rise for the pledge led by Mr. Hirsch.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is this okay? The agenda was posted throughout the district according to school board policy, published as a legal ad in the Superior Telegram, and posted on the district webpage. A meeting notice was sent to the connection for publication. Item 3, approval of the November 10th, 2025 agenda. Looking for a motion and a second to do so.
To make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Cat Vince. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 4, the consent agenda. Item A, the October 13th, 2025 regular school board meeting minutes. Anybody got anything they want to talk about there? Good. Item B, the treasurer's report. Mr. Cowley, please.
Of course. I just got my eyes dilated. So. Give me a bit here.
Sneak anything past them tonight.
On October 31st, 2025, there was a balance of $4,219,037.00 in cash investments in the general account. Receipts since the 1st of November and not included in the October 31st balance are $73,731.23. And the disbursement from tonight's November 10th board meeting total $85,328.20. In the flexible spending account on October 31st, 2025, there was a balance of $29,034.55 in cash and investments. In the health reimbursement account on October 31st, 2025, there was a balance of $7,217.96 in cash and investments. The debt service fund on October 31st, 2025, was a balance of $675.09 in cash and investments. A detailed report on fund activity is included in the financial statements.
Thank you, sir. Item C, payments of invoices. I would assume you have gotten those, overlooked those. Any questions, you have brought those to our business manager. Item D, resignations, employments, or retirements.
We have a couple resignations. Christy Essen, NHS breakfast cook. And then new employees, Doreen Martin, NES kitchen, and Felicia Cawther, NES part-time para-educator, are the staff shuffles that we'd like to approve tonight.
All right. Anybody have any questions on any of that at this time?
So Doreen will backfill for Christy.
We got a sub in there at the moment. We had an opening at the NES kitchen right now, so that's where she's going to start.
Okay.
So
Oh, I see. NHS.
NHS. Yep.
If that's the case, I am looking for a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 5, the ACT and Wisconsin Forward exam results. Mr. Fetchelcock.
Yep, we are, this is an annual process for us. Mr. Larrabee, as our district-wide assessment coordinator, is going to kind of give us a 10,000-foot view of some of the test results that we have from our Wisconsin Forward exams and ACT tests. So just a reminder, Wisconsin Forward exam is 3 through 8.
3 through 8 and 10, and ACT, as you remember, is just the junior year. The pre-ACT Secure is also out there for 9th and 10th graders, anyone that's connected to students at that age. But that goes into our state report card a little bit differently. And I'll actually get to talk about state report cards next month. So I can't share a lot of that information right now because they're still quote unquote embargoed. But if we can kind of look at the performances for these individual tests as a catalyst going into the state report card. What I can share is we continue to do really well in Maple, and it goes back to some of the practices that I'm going to talk about when we look at data today. So 1,000-foot view, as Cody had alluded to, the report cards go all the way back to 15-16, and the forward exam going back to that time frame as well. And those are the grades and the focus areas and when they are tested on them. I'm not going to talk about science or social studies, just out of respect for time. A lot of our work right now is focused on ELA at the elementary level, so I'll focus more on that. And then also with mathematics. But if anybody has questions on science or social studies, I got some questions from staff. I can certainly give you that information as well. Or for anybody that's watching, for our viewer this evening, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Or I can also share this presentation because I know sometimes it's hard to see the presentation when you're watching online. So with that, one of the big pieces is I always try to say, well, if we have the numbers, what are we going to do with the numbers? So if we have the data, well, let's use the data. So a bigger part of the summertime and early into the fall, myself, Mrs. Craig, Mr. Smith, Ms. Landerer, and Mrs. Nielsen, we all sit down and we start digging into, well, where are we at? What have we done? What's our trajectory? Where are we seeing goods? And where are we seeing needs? And we use that to then start to plan for professional development or to start to look at what our curriculum is or what our processes are for reviewing curriculum. So that's a little bit about how we use the data. So I'm going to start at the elementary level, looking at Iron River and NES. And if we put both schools together, because we obviously try to educate all of the elementary kids in the same manner, you can see that the graphs, for whatever reason, DPI has upside down, in my opinion. So the highest performers are on the bottom in the, we'll say, light blue, followed by those that are meeting the expectations in the darker blue. The yellow is students that are approaching, and then on the top, those are the students that are developing their skills yet. Don't know why they do it that way, but they have for years, so I think it just kind of stays that way. I like to highlight where it says all students and then the percentages, because you can see numbers to percentages. And what you can see is for, say there's 20 kids in a classroom, we'd be looking at about 2 kids that are not yet developing their skills. So we again try to go back to, well, where are we numbers wise, so that we can look at, well, are we moving it? How are we doing with the student body as a whole? So other important note is you look at the elementary stuff. When we think about the state report card and what our districts are compared to, what they do is they look at what they call a value added process, which means if you have students that perform in the advanced criteria, they get 1.5 points for every test performance. If they meet the expectation or in the dark blue, they get a full point. If they are approaching and they don't quite have the skill all the way, they get a 0.5 point. And if they're developing that skill, they don't get any points. And why that's important is if we look at how schools stack up, you have to have more kids that are advanced or overperforming and less kids that are underperforming. So it becomes a numbers game to a little bit. And again, we obviously look at all kids. And that's where our practice is for like Tiger Time at the elementary school, or Mrs. Craig, they have their win time, which is our differentiation time where we can focus on growing kids. So we take these numbers and bring them right back down to the classroom and work with our teachers. Breaking it out just by NES, you can kind of see the talking points there where we are at percentage-wise, which is about the same as the district average. And then at NES, obviously smaller population, but you can see there's higher representation for ELA on the top end than at the bottom end. So we continue to do really well at both elementary schools. I often get the question, well, how do we stack up to everybody else? So I know this is a ton, board members, you have it in your packet. I can share this publicly. I've shared it with our staff already. This is schools in the heart of the North Conference, and then by grade, how do we stack up? So if you look at all of the students that took the forward exam in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, that percentage is on the right-hand side, or you can look by grade level. Reminder that NA, those are districts that have 5th grade at the middle school level. So their state report card is based off of 3rd grade and 4th grade only, and then 5th grade goes up to the middle school report card.
What is the percent? Explain what that number is.
Sure. So I'll pick on Maple. So for all students in English language arts, we have 62.8% of all of the kids that took the forward exam that met the expectations. They were either advanced or meeting the expectation. Good questions.
May I ask, what is meeting? and maybe this isn't, my brain works A, B, C, D.
Yep, that's a common question. So I would say meeting is the C to A range.
C
Kids
to
that
A.
are meeting the expectation, they're not needing additional supports.
Okay.
Yep, good question. Moving on in the math world, in Maple, we historically have done better in math than in reading at the elementary school. You'll see it's starting to even out a little bit because we are seeing some good growth in our reading side, which again goes back to a couple of years ago. We bought into a new resource, and with the professional development around Act 20, we're starting to see that trend taking over. So you can see kind of the number breakdown, breaking it out by schools. NES, they're around 20% at the top end. And then Iron River historically has done really well in mathematics. Again, to have 33%, 32% at the top end is pretty remarkable. And then this is the Heart of the North breakdown. You can see, going back to the question about percentages, we're slightly lower in math this year, but we've seen an uptick in our reading, which is good. So now we want to obviously shift over to math and continue to grow there. Moving over to the middle school. I know Craig was very excited when we got their performance information. I've already sat with their teams as well. English language arts, you can see a large percentage of those students that are meeting the expectations or scoring as advanced. And you can see kind of the Heart of the North breakdown. If you recall last year, I think we shared at this meeting, maybe the report card meeting, one of the focuses with the middle school last year was they were doing site visits, working with other school districts to look at their curriculum and look at their instructional practices, and they did some on-site visits at those schools. One of the things that they brought back this year was the successes of that and how they've used that in the classroom. So Mrs. Craig's team is working really hard. And switching over to mathematics, you can see that, again, the continued strong performance there. And you can see they top the charts when it comes to mathematics, which is a testament to Mrs. Craig's team.
Besides Mrs. Teal, I'm trying to remember the other math teachers over there.
So
Mr. Olson.
Mr. Olson in 6th grade,
Mr. Owen.
Mr. Owen, 7th.
Some rock stars.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like there's one more in there.
There's the data to show it too.
Yep. Yeah. If you go back there, I mean, it's a good group of schools to represent the Heart of the North, and they're at the top of that list. So kudos to that team.
I think Mr. Owen's part of that. He's got one section of math.
I think so.
Yeah. So there you go. You got 3 rock stars.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to overlook our special ed teachers at the middle school, because I can disaggregate some of this data, and I've shared that with Allison and her team. And we really moved the needle in the special ed in the last couple of years. So it's a shout out to that. Going to the ACT. So again, remember that ACT is just for our juniors. So the composite score, I have to get the question of year to year. Our composite score is stayed pretty consistent in years prior. You have the subtests like English, math, reading. Those numbers are kind of hard to see. I apologize for that. Science, and then STEM.
So what I heard you say is if you were to trend that year over year, we're typically right around 19 something.
Yep, we're right around there. I have it in one of the next slides coming up. Question that I expected to get, if anybody's thinking, why is writing 6.3 where all the others are in the teens?
Yeah.
Writing is a different scale. So usually when I throw that one up, people are like, wait a minute, why do we tank in writing? Writing is only through 2 through 12, so 12 would be your best possible score. So I believe that's a 6.3 up there, so about 50%.
Like to keep us guessing.
So I get the question of why. Well, call TBI.
I'm sure the person who came up with it needs to keep his job.
Well, there's
Make it
one that was
difficult.
probably a non-conformist and couldn't go to a 36 scale. So on the ACT side for ELA, you can see the breakdown, how we compare to the state. We're right around the state average with that. Here's the ELA historical. So this is the percentile, not necessarily the composite score, but I can pull that number if anybody wants. I can shoot it to you. So you can see percentile wise, we have kind of trended somewhere around that 40th. So you can see right now we're at 39.4 with last year's juniors. Moving into the math world, you can see performance is slightly higher than the state, which is always nice. We have a little bit more in the middle ground, if you will, for the students that are meeting the expectation. And then their historical data, you can see we dipped a little bit following the pandemic, but we've come back and kind of maintained that this year. So. And then the Heart of the North comparison, just like I did with elementary schools, middle school, we can kind of see where we fall in terms of our neighbors. And it's much more level, if you will, on the ACT side. You could see with the middle school math, you had all the way from 70 down to 30. Elementaries, we see big differences as well, but the ACT for the high school is pretty stable in the Heart of the North.
Quick question.
Yeah, penalties?
If they retake the test, would that be reflected?
Yeah,
in
we
the
did.
data?
So on the state data side, if you will, if a student takes it tomorrow, it'll update it within that system. So good question. And we do, I can't speak to how many, but I do know we've had some that have retaken it over the years.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yep, switched it over to math if you want to see the Heart of the North comparison. As I said, much more stable. There's a couple of outliers, but pretty consistent. And then again, just closing before I open up to any last questions, is really looking at, well, what is it that we're doing with it? Again, at the elementary level, we've utilized Mrs. Walsh as a train-the-trainer type program. So she has gone and been trained as somebody trained in the Keys to Reading training, which met the state's criteria. And then we use our PD days to focus on how are we teaching reading. It's been a very big success for us. We pair that with weekly PLCs where we talk about what's coming up for those classes and kind of how are we teaching. And as a whole, because I get to sit through kindergarten all the way through 5th grade, so 6 different meetings a week, it's nice to hear those common conversations because I can leave kindergarten where we're talking about what's a sentence look like, and then walk down to 5th grade and they're having a little more complex conversation, but the same conversation. So it's been a good PD experience. At the middle school, as I shared, Mrs. Craig has worked with her team to look at, well, how are we taking our instructional standards and how are we looking at how our kids are doing? And then what can we do to improve on that? The site visits was a big part last year. I know this year they're digging into the standards and looking at what their resources are, and then also looking at some of our neighboring districts and what they're using. And at the high school, and Mr. Smith's not here, but I have talked with Brian a lot and worked with some of the teachers to look at taking the ACT data and looking at our at-risk students going into that from the pre-ACT secure and looking at, well, how can we support them before they take the ACT this year? So we're trying to take the data and apply it to what is it that we can do to help our students to grow. So with that, I'll end my side and feel free to answer any questions.
You mentioned, so I think I asked this last year, and you had said earlier that you had visited other schools to see what they were doing. Did you find out yet what St. Croix Falls is doing?
They just make me
Do you
mad.
want me to shut the microphone off before I answer?
No.
So St. Croix Falls is dear to my heart. My family graduated from there. I know some of the teachers down there, so I know the inside track. And they have some really strong instructional leaders in that district. They have a curriculum director that is very able to just focus on that instead of having shared hats. They happen to have instructional coaches at the elementary level as well. If you look at some of the things that they're achieving, it's because they have people that, unfortunately, for budgetary reasons, we have not been able to have. So that's my honest opinion.
So those of us who don't live in the educational world, can you tell me in broad strokes what an instructional coach does?
So an instructional coach is kind of like a hitting coach, whether it's a baseball or softball player. So it's somebody that will come in and say, okay, here's what's working, but here's what we can do different. And here's a resource, here's a standard, but here's what I'm seeing in the classroom. So let's work on how we can make sure every kid is getting more out of that instruction. And it's a teacher who teaches teachers, like a batting coach or a free throw coach.
I mean, part of the thing is that you look at the elementary and middle school of St. Croix Falls and they're whooping everybody.
Yep.
But once you got to the ACT at the high school level, it drops off. Now, I have varying opinions on current
Correct.
ACT stuff. However, seeing that drop off, how about like from a curriculum point of view? Do they have a significantly different curriculum than some of these other districts, including ourselves, to be able to help achieve that as well?
So 4 years ago, I would have said yes. So I'll speak mainly to the academic world at the elementary. So 4 years ago, yes, they were doing things in the science-based reading world. They were using some programs that were different than what we were using. Now, Act 20 has changed that. In the math world, we're in the same realm. But they had, I would say, a combination of factors. So having people that are in instructional leadership roles that are able to help with it, coaching their teachers, having a curriculum director that is able to work specifically with curriculum, having those other people to be able to help, though all those things being in place for multiple years has created the success that they're having. Now that Act 20 has changed, everybody's basically said, okay, you have to use one of these 6 DPI approved programs. So that's narrowed. I know when we purchased one of those 6 programs, not the program that they're using, but that is something we can certainly look at going down the road.
Well, and I'm certainly not saying that they have all the answers. It's just
No.
based off of
They're
a
getting-
spreadsheet with some test scores.
Yeah.
It tells me that they're doing something right, and
Absolutely.
that's more than 1 year,
Correct.
being able to see that.
Correct, and I like that you pointed at, well, if the elementary and the middle school are doing these, well, I'm gonna suspect that their ACT scores are gonna go up. Those kids coming through the elementary, because if I go back and pull their data at the elementary 5 years ago, it did not look like that. So, because that's the fun stuff I get to do. What they've got right now is success. They are, generating success at the elementary that is helping success at the middle school. And they're all on the same page moving up. So I would suspect that their ACT scores are gonna go up in the coming years.
Yeah, if you look, their 9th grade was like 65.
Yeah, I saw that, 9th grade, 10th
Correct.
grade,
Yeah,
And
was their juniors.
junior year. Okay.
Yep, and I do know, myself, obviously, I've talked to their district, Mrs. Craig has reached out to them recently too, as well, to try to learn from our neighbors, what's working, how can we get better? All good questions.
Anyone else?
I know not everybody gets as excited about it. This is, on my side, this is the proof of like, why are we doing what we're doing? And we have really good success, but anybody that's read good to great, sometimes you gotta do things differently to get to great. I think we have a good recipe.
Always adapting.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah.
Question? Do they ever cross-reference this data with student demographics, homelessness rates?
Correct. Yeah, so there's a huge spreadsheet that I can get from the state where then you can go in and you can look for just comparable districts based off of socioeconomic status or student with disability population, all those things. So like when we look at state report cards, when I come next month, I can say, well, in the state of Wisconsin, I can look local, but maybe I want to cast a broader net. I can look at how districts that are comparable within 5% of free and reduced, how they perform compared to us. I think I did that for Dr. Cronin a couple of years ago. And it's, again, going back to, we do really well. If you narrow that search to kind of our demographic, then we do really well. But in order to get to great, what can we do next? So, Kat, if you want, I can send you that stuff too.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to play around with.
I'd be interested to see that.
Yes. No problem. And next month when I come, I can have that ready and send it to you guys ahead of time. It's just a big, long spreadsheet that I hide a bunch of cells, so it's not so confusing. So,
You can get in the data rabbit hole very easily.
well, yeah, but sometimes I gotta hide in order to get down that hole. So, all right, well, thank you all. If you think of other things, shoot me an email or give me a call and I can certainly get it for you.
Thank you, Brad.
You're more than welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you for
Thank you,
that.
Mr. Larrabee. Thank you to our staff. You guys heard how we're trying to operationalize some of this data. There's some good data there, but we're not resting on the laurels and just saying it's okay. We want to continue to push and get better. We know we can improve. So thank you to them.
Thank you. Item 6, approval items. Item A, requests for overnight trips for Mr. Smith, Director of Athletics and Activities, for a plethora of things. And if you look at those, he has a lovely it's a one-page document. For boys varsity basketball to attend the holiday tournament at, how do you say that? Aquinas High School in La Crosse on December 29th and 30th of 2025. And based off of that, it looks like the parents' booster and activity funds will cover the expenses of hotels and meals, and the district, as historically, will cover the entry fee and the transportation. the wrestling team to travel Wisconsin Dells. I think I said that wrong. I'm sorry.
You're right.
The boys basketball, parents and activity funds will cover the, I did, all right. Wrestling team to travel to Wisconsin Dells, December 12 and 13. Also to travel to Tomahawk on the 18th, Rhinelander on the 19th. I believe that is also, district covers the entry fee and transportation, but the parents and booster club and activities will cover the hotels and meals.
That'll be a common thing.
Yeah, wrestling team to attend Northern Badger Tournament at River Falls on December 27th and 9th, same thing. Junior and senior members of the dance team to attend the Dance Leadership Conference in Wisconsin Dells, November 14th through 16th. I thought that was the same thing covered by dancers, if I remember reading. And dance team to attend the regional competition at DC Everest High School, January 23rd. And if I recall, that is funded by the district because it is a state competition, and that is how we operate.
Yep, that is correct.
So with that all being said, anybody have any questions for Mr. Smith, who's not here?
But Ms. Lander Mr. Smith and Ms. Lander met together, and she is more than willing to answer any questions that you may have. But we're trying to get them all done in one fell swoop here because it's cleaner and easier, and we are getting into winter sports season very, very quickly. I think girls basketball started today, didn't it?
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve those night trips requested by Mr. Smith.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passes. Thank you very much. Item B, a request from Mrs. Jenny Rayo and the DECA students to attend the DECA Sports Management event December 15th through 17th, 2025.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jenny, and this is our president, Lauren Wida. Familiar face for you. So we appreciate Lauren being here. I know she requested something last month. We are here again with another request. And I'll let Lauren tell you.
Okay, so our DECA students have an incredible opportunity available to them in our Wisconsin DECA Sports and Entertainment Marketing Conference in December. So we have many students who compete in sports and entertainment marketing categories at our different levels of competition, and we have several more who are interested in this field as a career. We're seeking approval for a small group of students, 9 students with a school vehicle, to attend this educational opportunity in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. As the conference is a bit of a commute for us, we would like to drive down the day before, and we will leave the morning after the conference. If possible, we would like to use this opportunity to tour the UW Eau Claire or UW Oshkosh. As such, we need to secure 3 to 4 rooms depending on students for the event for 2 evenings.
So in the packet that you received, you should have gotten all of the details of costs and everything associated with it. We are paying for this conference through fundraising, through sponsorships, and also through a small student fee that kids will pay for the conference that I talked about with our officers here just a couple weeks ago. Specifically, I want to say thank you to some of our sponsors who help make these opportunities affordable to kids. We have Sign Gypsies, Fraction LLC, Markovich Law, North Bay Trading Company, Northwood Tech, Peterson Wood Treating, The Other Place, Deep Lake Lodge, Security State Bank, and Culver's. So we're very thankful for them so that we can provide as many opportunities for kids as possible. And now we just want to open it up if you have any questions. We're going to see the Wisconsin Herd, which is a Milwaukee Buck affiliate. Last year they tried to go with the Bucks, and even this year they were trying as well, but just unfortunately the dates weren't meshing. So that is what we will be doing this year.
So yeah, my question is that in what you've written here, it says you're going to pay for the conference through the accounts that you fundraised for, and then you have the breakdown of all of it. Is that just to give us the information as to how it is?
Yep.
Okay. Sounds like a good time.
What I was curious about is the involvement, or kind of from who's hosting it, or who are you expecting to hear from, I guess, or who are you looking forward to really hearing from?
Yeah, so Wisconsin DECA puts the event on, and then they bring industry speakers. So
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
Yep, so in the past, we've been to Lambeau Field quite a bit. That's typically where we go. And so, for example, we've heard the director of the Packers marketing team, their social media. We've heard from Brown County's like director of public relations that will come in. We also normally have a lot of coaches that work in the industry. So we typically have a pro coach from hockey, football, basketball, baseball, depending on the makeup. So it's a really good experience for our kids to meet industry professionals. I myself was a marketing intern for a baseball team, so for me, this is very much up my alley, and the kids really seem to enjoy it. We have a lot of kids that compete in sports marketing. It's a very popular event, individually and as a team. So we have a lot of interest in this particular activity as well.
If there is no other questions, I would entertain a motion and a second for them.
Make a motion to approve the DECA team to travel.
I would second that.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Have yourself a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Item C, the superintendent search services and contract determination. This is me. You guys should have received a sheet that's, well, it has the three people that we had reached out to get quotes from to help us with the superintendent search based on what we discussed as far as finding and hiring a third-party service to do that, which I believe was August. Is that when we decided that? I think so, right? Yeah. So timing is now of the way chips are going to fall is that we do this now. And then whomever we choose is going to help us over the next month or two or three to go through the process, help us with all that. Do you all have that sheet up in front of you showing the three different? So I don't know, did they get the whole packet of all of these? Okay, so there's about 150 pages of all of this. CISA 12, Maya and I were part of this last time. Personally, I thought they did a really nice job. They're local. They have a vested interest in what we're doing. All of these have a clause where if it doesn't work out, that they'll help you with. I think CISA 12 is 2 years. If it doesn't, if they leave, they get fired, whatever, for whatever reason if it happens prior to 2 years, they'll help you conduct a search again for either no or little to no cost. CISA 12 is free. Carl was here for 2 years and a month. So Hazard Young, these other two are not local. And when I say local, I mean CISA 12 is out of Ashland, but Hazard Young, you can see that $16,500 plus travel. So we're anywhere from $16,000 to $19,000 if a person were to go with them. That is a legal firm that does that. WASB also $12,970 is the not to exceed. It could come in at less than that, but all of these firms do background checks. They vet them. They help with the interview process. They help with the whole thing. I don't know if you want to end up saying anything based on what our experience was with CISA.
Yeah, I mean, CISA 12 I was happy with it. Obviously, Dr. Madison has a very invested interest in our district, and other employees there that helped us. So.
When we did the search for Mr. Moran, I was very hesitant and of wanting to spend any type of funds to help find a superintendent initially. After we went through the process, it was, in my opinion, I would say it was money well spent. It was worth the vetting process, the background process, the helping with the interview process. I'm not sure the interview process with the other two services are going to bring in. I would assume that the CISA 12 is going to continue to do a very similar process that they've done historically, but they brought in community members and staff members with the second round of interviews as well to help give the board a perspective outside of us. And were you part of that, Mrs. Heidel? So I'm not going to put you on the spot, but if there is anything you wanted to say regarding that process, I would entertain that.
Well, I think obviously having staff, community, I mean, that type of involvement, I think is very, very important. And so that part of the process, I don't have anything to compare it to.
Nor do
You
I.
know, but that part I thought went really well.
So because you don't have the whole thing, it was a lot of, I'm going to say the packets that we received from the other two, there was some pomp and circumstance isn't the right word, but there were multiple pages of how great we are and all this. Yeah. And I'm not sure, I mean, personally, I'm not sure I need that. I just want somebody to tell me like it is and do a nice job for us for a reasonable rate. I'm not advocating for one over the other.
I think CISA 12 is hired to last, and our CISA last, I don't know. They've been part of like last 5 or 6 superintendents, maybe more.
They've done a lot. I know.
Every
Well,
school is hired.
Drummond, South Shore,
It seems like they're always doing one when I was.
Yes, the two questions I have are, is there any reason to believe that besides CISA, are the other services going to be able to offer more value for some reason? Or you might think of it like, are they going to be able to reach a different audience that CISA wouldn't be able to, or be able to find candidates that CISA wouldn't be able to, for example? Do we have any reason to believe that?
Well, I'm guessing like Weekend is like what everybody uses.
They're doing
nowadays
that.
anyways, isn't it?
I do think Dr. Madison he's been around a long time. He knows a lot of people within the state, understands how the process works, because I don't think CISA was doing superintendent searches until he
I believe that's
became
correct. Yeah.
became the coup de grace there of CISA 12. But he's pretty well respected throughout the state, I would say, as far as being able to gather information. Do I think that some of the other two could offer equal services, or maybe have some potential for, I guess, maybe a more thorough vetting process? I would not be surprised if perhaps that's the case, but I don't think it's enough to say that it's gonna help change my mind, I guess, if you will. You said you had 2 questions.
I asked 2 questions.
Well, what was
They're kind of the same. It was, do they have added value? And then do they have like a different reach, or do they,
Oh, that's right.
are they gonna have visibility to different candidates, right?
I don't think that Hazard Young were they in Illinois company?
Good question.
I don't think they were based out of Wisconsin, if I recall.
Illinois, Arlington Heights, Illinois.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, does anybody have any additional questions? I mean, you have what's in front of you, but if you were wanting to go through and read all of the stuff that they presented, I'd certainly give that to you, but it's a lot of reading, so I didn't want to necessarily burden you with that.
So if we go with CISA 12 and they're not able to find a superintendent with the search, then they support us through the next year, and then will they do another search? Or
So I think the way that it worked last time was that part of what Dr. Madison had explained was, I want to get this out, and I think open up, is it weekend? Is that what you call it? Or whatever the administrative side of it is, but go through, get our applicants. If we wouldn't have any applicants, they would run it again after the new year, I think. He understood some of the dates and how to acquire some of that, because I think, is it, Wendy, you might be able to answer this. Is it February, when administrative contracts have to be presented? Of February? So that's part of the reason that going through December, and if December doesn't bring applications to us, you do it again in probably January. You still have the opportunity to hire prior to school year being over. Okay. Bill? Steve?
Do we have I imagine a contract with this would be similar to what we had last week. There is a written contract, right?
There is a written contract. And it has they were, I think they had a list of expectations that they would provide for us. What our expectations of them that they're gonna provide for us. The clauses as far as 2 years and the financial impacts of all of that stuff.
And I think since you had a good experience last time, I mean, I would think that would make sense to go to CISA again.
You know, and again, I'm not advocating for or against anybody, but the situation that we were in August as a district, you know, I reached out to Nick to ask a handful of questions. He did. I thought he really did the district a solid in stepping up and helping us navigate those few weeks that we needed to try to deal with. And I had reached out to him during that process because of the experience we had with the hiring of that process back when we were looking for Carl. So I would say from a personal level, he's a person to be trusted. I think he's got not just our district, but the entire CISA district in his best interest. So he's not, I mean, I do know when we went through the process to find Mr. Moran, we had a whole, I don't remember how many applications we had seen. There were the first round, there was 10 or 12, I thought. And as we sat through it, he was like, yeah, you should probably, you know, being honest with you, this one looks good, but you should probably not look at this one. You should, this one looks, yeah, but you might want to give this one an opportunity, that kind of a thing. From his, I guess, his knowledge, his experience, him being able to call other superintendents to ask just questions to be able to get an answer. And that, I'm not sure you're going to get from the other two proposals. That, I guess, that personal connection, I guess, if you will, or that personal relationship that's already been built.
Doesn't it include like a year of mentoring or something?
I thought it did, the last one. I guess I don't recall.
I can't remember, but it was something.
It was some, Wendy's nodding her head. Yeah. That's, I mean, that's all. There are some value added stuff that happens afterwards. So.
I guess I'd make a motion that we go with season 12 for the hiring of our new superintendent.
I'd second that.
We have a motion and a second. Because we're spending some money, we have to do a roll call vote. So we'll start over here. Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Hirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Probst,
Yes.
Mrs. Brunet, Mr. Cowley,
Yes.
Mr. Glonick.
Yep.
And I also vote yes. Well, that motion passes. So now we get to start that process. I guess I will keep you all abreast as to what the next situation or next process is after, whether it's me or Jenny or Mr. Fetchel reach out to CISA and let them know. So,
For the next meeting, can we request kind of, if this is the schedule?
I would expect we can have that, sure.
And, you know, this is what that process is gonna look like over the next several months.
Sure.
So then, you know, I think that's fair to everybody, just to think. I know Jenny likes those dates, right? It's hard to say.
It is
These
going
are
to.
when things will do better, right?
Hiring a new superintendent is going to require additional dates outside of school board meetings, just so you know your extremely high compensation package will help compensate you for that. All right, moving on. Item 7, the administrative reports. A, communications received. Mr. Petchel.
None for this month.
All right.
Simple.
Item B, school board election notice and schedule. I'll give you this one too.
Do you want to tackle this one, Ms. Kelly? You want me to? So, I can tackle it. So, 3 of you are up for re-election. You know which 3 you are. Mr. Hirsch, Ms. Burnett, Mr. Cowley are up for re-election. There is the notice in there for you folks. So the election is going to be April 7th, 2026. If we have enough people, there will be a primary election on February 17th, 2026 to narrow that pool. So if needed. The next big date that for the incumbents, there's a deadline of December 26th for incumbents to file notice of non-candidacy. That is by the December 26th at 5 p.m. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Jenny, and say that you would appreciate if it was before December 26th.
Very much so.
So those of you who are incumbents would behoove Jenny to let her know before the 26th of December, but officially you have till the 26th of December to make a decision if you do not want to run or not. So other than that, that's just an informational piece of this meeting. So any questions on that?
All right. Item C, financial aid certification, and tax levy for the 2025-26 years. Mr. Fetchelcotter.
So I've chatted with shared information, have put it in our newsletter. Our tax levy is increasing. You guys have all heard me talk about this since when we first got the equalization aid estimate back in July 1. So the total tax levy increase sits at 15.8%. And that's due to changes in the revenue limit formula and ultimately a decrease of almost $1.2 million or 15% in state equalization aid. And as you've heard me talk before, the more state equalization aid you get, the lower your property tax levy is, and vice versa. So this is directly related to 2 main factors, declining enrollment and increased property values. We do what we can to decrease our costs, but this is a statewide pool, and ultimately District A gets more money, District B gets less money, and that's the teeter-totter of this. So this is not the news that we wanted to hear, but it's the reality that we have. Historically, our state provided about 60% of the ingredients to run our district, and the local taxpayer provided about 40% of our ingredients. That's flipped pretty close to on its head. It's going to be about 55% local property tax, 45% state aid. So that the tax levy will likely result in increased property taxes. And it's important for me to note, as you guys have heard me, hopefully now as a broken record indicate that that does not mean more money for the district. It simply backfills the hole, the 15% hole that the state used to kick in. So the total mill rate is up 5.6%. This does not mean across the board, they're always going to see a 15% increase. Equalization aid is divvied up amongst our municipalities, and those percentages do change as determined by the Department of Revenue. So municipality A might see a 1% increase in their property values, and municipality B might see a 20% increase, and that's how it's divvied up. So that is finalized. That work is done. Ms. Kelly and myself sent out the information to all of the local municipalities. So that is your report. That is what we have today.
Quick question. So just so I understand, the state has X amount of money that they give out no matter what. I mean, so you said one district gets more, another one gets less.
Yep.
That's
It's a what we call some specific pot of money. It's here's the pot, here's the pieces of the pie that get divvied out. So
So even if like every district needed, I mean, was in need for whatever reason, it's, some are gonna get it, some are not.
in our state legislature with this last budget, for the first time, I think in 14 years, did not put any additional money into the equalization aid pot, for lack of a better term. It's the same as what it was for the last 2 cycles, or last 2 years, excuse me, last budget cycle. Why that is, I don't know. I'm not a part of those conversations, but this
There's
is,
no inflation or anything. huh?
this is where we sit. Yeah,
Schools are getting
our total budget is up less than, about 1%. So it's not like this is a huge budget increase of anything like that. We look at the total numbers, which in today's terms, 1% is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Most of us would take that, I think, on a personal level. If we can just say stuff costs us 1% more, I'd like that. That's usually not the case. So we are trying to do everything we can to keep the tax levy as flat as we possibly can from year to year, but this was a curveball. We're one of 70+% of districts across the state that saw some kind of decrease. And in turn, roughly 30% of the districts saw some kind of increase. Most years were pretty flat, 1, 2, 3% one way or the other. This year was really difficult because we're one of maybe 10 districts that received a decrease that we had, or a little bit more. So it is.
Cody, there in this letter to the clerks, you have a sentence, the debt service levy increased by 5.3% due to a changing amortization schedule.
So this is the last bit, the last payment for our big mortgage. So those try to stay somewhat stagnant for the most part, but they do somewhat increase a little bit from year to year. So there's the debt service payment that we've known to pay for the 2008 referendum. There's a few other short-term borrowings. One is the energy efficiency for the HVAC system at the elementary school. There's a WRS refunding. That's a long conversation that happened well before I was ever here. But that is the grand scheme of things. 5% on $3 million is not small by any stretch of the imagination, but that's where that's coming from.
Okay.
Any other questions I can answer for anybody? There's nothing in terms of motions. It's just a report. So.
There's mud.
Yeah.
Item D, the maintenance report. I would assume that you all opened that, read that. Can you explain to me though, the swap out basketball hoops from lower gym to upper gym? What's that all about?
We got new rims down
At the
there.
at the lower gym?
Mr. Moran, before this happened, actually they were here in the spring, but we had new hoops ordered. The ones that were in the lower gym or the upper gym were getting very old. They might have been 25+ years old. So we looked at them and decided that we'll put the new ones in the competition gym, and the ones from the competition gym will go up to the old gym, and the ones that are left, I don't believe they went anywhere else. We did ask our custodians in our other buildings, aka the middle school, Iron River and NES, if they needed them, and I don't think they did. So we did leave 1 or 2 around as spares if something goofy would happen. But
Is it the whole mechanism, the whole,
yeah, they
the whole
both in.
shooting match?
Yeah, so the breakaway rims and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
the whole shooting match. If you look in the gym, the nets are very white right now.
Rims are a little tight.
Oh, no.
Somebody better get up there, 'cause
Some bugs.
So
I'll get on that.
get the wrench out.
yeah, they
You can lose.
Bill, our head custodian, installed them probably about a week and a half ago, I believe. So they're fresh.
Some low scoring basketball games.
Yeah.
Rebounding.
Is there an update on the hot water?
Yes, we continue to battle the hot water heater. We have hopefully a part gets here. There's essentially the motherboard that runs the whole thing is the next cause here. So this is a project that will come back. As you guys have alluded to and heard me talk about, we don't have any redundancy in this building, which is a problem. Anything can break, and when that particular thing breaks, we don't have hot water. So I'm working with a couple local providers to get some quotes on. We believe we've had 2 different people come in to look at it. We believe the one that we have, once we get this part, should run, fingers crossed, uninterrupted, but we still want to make sure we have an insurance plan. So that is something that we're not necessarily an emergency repair per se, but something that might be as a long-term plan where we bring some quotes into the board and say, this is what this provider A is offering, this is what provider B is offering. We want to make sure we do it right. So.
Seems like the AC in here is still working pretty good.
Well, did you see here the
It's very
today
easy this time of year.
improved temperature in Principal Smith's office?
Not sweating them out anymore.
His office is not sweaty, that's for sure. There's 2 exterior walls. I think they saved on a little insulation in that one. All kinds of fun there.
Anything else, or are we good?
Not on my end. Any other questions we can answer? We did light up all the boilers. Knock on wood, they all fired, so we are making heat. So that is good.
All right.
That time of year.
Item E, donations. Mr. Petrocotter.
Yeah, we got a couple donations here. We want to thank Kin, Kids in Layton and Bagman. They made a donation of $500 to each building guidance department. So that's used as their guidance counselors to kind of see fit. I know there's no lack of needs, so we thank Kin for that. Kate Holtzman donated pumpkins for all students at IRES. So thank you, Kate. That's a few. Kelsey and Dustin Halverson for IRES snack donations. Darren Misbauer for a handmade wooden puzzle board that went to the NES guidance department. I don't know if you want to say anything on that, but that's.
You know, just like magic, I mentioned it, it appeared in my office.
There you go.
Shortly afterwards.
We thank Darren and the Misbauer family. Andy and Amy Mack for a large donation of food to supplement their backpack program. The Mission Covenant Church donated a large amount of winter jackets, boots, hats, and gloves for many, many students. Costas donated $1,000 to the NHS Student Council. Those of you that remember, they had a food truck here for our homecoming festivities, and they donated all of their money back to the student council. So very, 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 very nice donation there. Thank you. Graymont LLC donated $500 to Tiger Manufacturing, and Rachel Zawicki donated 5 gently used compression shirts to the special education department. Those are our donations, and we thank all of our donors.
Yeah, that's quite the list. It's
good.
I'm glad to see that that's happening, and I'm extremely grateful.
It's a great community.
Item F, the WASB correspondence and legislative report.
Yes. On October 31st, Governor Tony Evers signed into law AB 2, now known as 2025 Wisconsin Act 42. The bill generally restricts cell phone and personal device usage during instructional time by requiring school boards to adopt policies. The bill grants a number of exceptions to the restrictions, including for perceived emergencies, a pupil's health care or IEP 504 plan, or if a teacher deems it necessary for educational purposes. Last week, the Assembly Committee on Education held a public hearing on bills making it easier for students to be eligible for voucher programs, student discipline, and an overhaul of math instruction based on Act 20. Based on the Act 20 overhaul of literacy instruction. It also added that there is no funding attached. These bills are not expected to pass this legislative session, but they will be lots of discussion and hopefully shaped for the future.
Thank you. I would like to say the cell phone thing, you didn't say it, but that has to be a policy in place by July 1st of 2026. I have had a couple people reach out to me wondering how soon we're going to adapt a policy. And it's my my feeling. I kind of want to see what WASB does to come up with some legal jargon as to making sure that we don't put a policy in place that we have to recant and then do something again. I am happy to see that on a personal level. Interested to see how we're going to be able to implement that and do everything and come up with a policy that I think is right for everybody. So just FYI, that's kind of where my.
It doesn't surprise me that the schools that I've noticed have had such policies have been pleased, I think, with the results. At least that's what I heard.
Just from a district perspective, the push has always been one-to-one technology from a computer aspect. COVID happened and we were able to achieve that. Everybody sat in front of a screen, and the longer we go, you start to see pullback happening. I believe at the elementary school level, there's Chromebooks are not going home.
No.
I think at the
They're
middle
actually-
school level too, they're not going home.
Not sixth grade, with the trend going to potentially seventh and eighth grade next year.
So I think, again, on a personal level, I don't have any data in front of me, but I think the push to have all that happen and then seeing maybe some effects of that and it being pulled back, I think this is just another one of those things to hopefully focus on education and not it's a Google tweet face.
Pendulum is coming back a little bit. We've had some initial conversations administratively. We will continue to have those. But I do agree that we let the Legal Beagle folks write some policy for us. Neola is our policy provider. They're very well aware of this. I don't know, Ms. Keller, if they've said anything about policy yet. The law is still really fresh.
And we do have the ability to change, you said Neola, right?
Yeah.
So I know
WASB will.
yeah, there has been a couple of different instances where we've seen a policy and it's only happened a handful of times since I've been on the board, but we have made some alterations to certain policies. So we do have the ability to do that. CISA 12 report.
Yeah, we did a virtual meeting on October 21st. Got some update. Facility work is in progress. Wallpaper removal and painting are underway. Roof work will be the next project as approved by the Board of Control previously. That's on the new CISA building in Ashland. Oral report, Olivia Datchell presented on the Youth Apprenticeship Program. The program had 175 students complete the program last year. That brought additional funding to participating districts. This year, there are 141 students currently enrolled with 116 employers engaged in youth apprenticeship programs. These numbers are typically seen later in the year. Some improvements to communication processes has helped students get involved sooner. This is helping build the local workforce. Shared an updated staff evaluation process for CISA 12 staff. The process is designed to help every staff person improve, no matter what their role. And the board approved agency administrator goals for the 25-26 school year.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Item H, student, staff, and community recognition. Mr. Betchel-Carter.
We just finished up first quarter, so we just want to recognize all of our new hires that have joined us. And we have various people, teachers, support staff, cooks, custodians, bus drivers. So we just want to give a moment to recognize them. You get that first quarter in, you really start to try to settle into the new gig. And the reality is that we wouldn't be able to do it without new people every year. So that is our recognition this month.
Very good. My computer agenda and my paper agenda are not the same, so I apologize if it looks like I screwed these last two up. But item I should say, reports from Northwestern Elementary, Iron River Elementary, Northwestern Middle, High School, Athletics and Activities Director, Special Education, all that. I would hope that you went through that. They are nice to read. So again, a lot of reading. And then finally, our student board representatives. So,
I'll go first. Okay, so for clubs, they've been somewhat busy recently with FFA having a leadership mission impact. FFA is leaving on Thursday and Friday overnight. They just had a volunteer work last Saturday. They had a few kids go down and pick buckthorn at Camp Nebagaman. That's in Lake Nebagaman. With Thanksgiving coming up, FCCLA is having their annual Thanksgiving basket. I believe it's their 20th year they've been doing this. Yeah. They're also letting people buy a $10 turkey feather that shows you donated it. It goes on a big turkey in the common area. For Drama One Act, they just came back from Eau Claire. I can never say that. For competition, they made it to state. We're not sure where, I'm not sure where state's gonna be right now, but I do know they're leaving the 21st and the 22nd of November. They're having their one act performance November 18th. They'll be performing small actors and the play Apostrophes. For DECA, they're having an ELC, is it competition or
Conference.
conference? Okay, I didn't know. Leaving on Sunday, coming back Monday evening. I believe it's not all, but it's. Is it all the officers or?
Yeah, most of our officer team will be going down there.
That's all we have for clubs right now.
And then as for sports, we're kind of in the in-between stage right now where most of the fall sports are done. And some of the winter sports have started. So the girls volleyball team wrapped up their season in Barron. This was the regional championship game. And the last time they made it to this level was 2020. So overall, a pretty successful season. And Shelby Hessel was selected to compete in the volleyball border battle, which is basically they select certain players, seniors from Wisconsin teams all over the state or all over the hard north. And then they also do the same in Minnesota and they play each other. So that'll be tomorrow night at 5:30. The cross country team wrapped up their season with Sophie Navarro competing at the state competition, and she took 10th overall for girls. The football team continues their season and will take on Stratford for a state qualifying game. They defeated Grantsburg this last Friday in a 44-16 win. And winter sports have kicked off. So girls hockey, which we co-op with Superior with, begins today. Michaela Geisler is a senior captain, and she was sharing her excitement for the season and saying there's a rush of underclassmen joining the team this year and that she's excited to see this new dynamic in play. Along with girls basketball starting today, they have many returners, so it should be interesting to see how they perform without their two seniors that kind of held the team together last year. And the dance team also starts their season today with evening practices to comply with continuing of fall sports. The dance team has had a lot of success in the past years with going to states the past 6 years in a row, and they're looking to continue that this year. And that's all I have for sports.
Thank you very much. That being said, we're going to go to the final item here, comments from the audience. Now that we have concluded the business of the board, we will